What if I told you I could take an image of a robot arm and 3D print it and bring it to life? I'll walk you through step by step exactly how I converted the image to a 3D model and get it up and running. Let's go. If you're new here, I'm Kevin. I've been doing robotics and AI for 10 plus years and have lots of resources on my channel. I also have a robotics builders membership where you see my behind the scene videos, as well as courses and projects linked down below. So here we are in the Neural4D website. You want to click right here, free to start. I've already signed up and logged in. So you can see here, once you log in, there's a lot of different things that pop up. So you could see some of the previous work that people have contributed. For example, you could click into any one of these and you could see some of the user input that they put in, which is the image here. And then you can see right now it's rendering an output of the 3D model. So you can see this is the model that it generated. And you could go back and you could see different models too. So for example, if I look at this one here, Goku, he's Super Saiyan here. And you can see again, this is the input. So it's just one single image. And then for the output, you can see this is a 3D model, which is pretty nice. And you can see there's different modes you can see here. You have the texture mode, which gives you the color. You have the normal mode, and then the PBR, and also the wireframe. So depending on if you're focused on animation or 3D printing, like I am, you would be interested in different parts of the different modes that you see here. So let's go ahead and walk through the different options you could have. So the Neural4D 2.0, this one right here up on top in green, this is a really nice one that allows you to interject different prompts to improve your model. You have a text to 3D if you have anything that you want to describe using AI, and then the image to 3D up here, this one, you could generate 3D models directly from images. So I already went ahead and tried the different few ones, but let's first go ahead and talk about the Neural4D-2.0. It's going to come here to the left here. I've already went ahead and gone through the process. So you can see I took an image here, and this is a segment of the robot arm. And then after I processed it, you can see this is the output. So it takes a few seconds to load. But you can see I purposely truncated that specific part of the arm because if I use the entire arm, it would try to generate the model of the whole arm. So when I just took a segment, you can see this is the 3D model of the arm. But notice that there's some text here. If you're 3D printing, the text won't really matter. But if, for example, you're trying to render, then this would matter. So right here it says remove the words or text on the model. And you can see I was able to give it prompts to refine the model. So it has understanding of natural language, which makes it really easy if you're trying to update your models. And you can see this is the improved version here, and it was able to remove all of that. So one thing I noticed was that it caused some rectangular part here, you can see. So what I ended up trying to do is now I told it to remove the words or text on the model and make the middle portion have smooth surface and transition. So after I gave it that prompt, you could see it was able to create a much smoother surface, and you're able to take this output and use it. So if I move over a little bit, you can see there's a little button here. That's the download button. You could choose if you want the texture model or untextured. So if you choose the untextured, you could choose the different options you want to export. So if you want to prepare for 3D printing, you could choose the STL option here and then go ahead and click on download. But there's a few other options I want to introduce too. So I tried playing with the image to 3D here. So if I come back here, you can see I played around with different ones. So this was my input image. And then when I took this input image, you could see this right here. This was my output. So again, I'll take a couple of seconds to load here. But you could see the comparison between, if I were to take the entire robot versus just a segment. So you can see it was able to produce a full arm. The problem with this is I can't really use it to print out a functional part. And because my focus was to make it functional, I wanted to print out just one link and then work with that in SolidWorks later on. So here's an example of if you give it a very minimal sketch, it's not going to create a very meaningful model. So you can see if you just give it a bad sketch, then you will have a bad output. So bad input, bad output. This right here is another example of the segment. So in this case, this one came out a little bit flat, but the 4D, the 40120 that I was using previously, that one was pretty good. And there's also options where you could generate many variations of the same part. So you could go ahead and try that too. And then also the Olaf, I was looking at that because of the Olaf robot recently. So this might also be a pretty good option if you're trying to create like surface of a robot, which typically if you're doing surface modeling can take more time. So you could surface model your robot and then scale it to the right proportion. And then in SolidWorks, you could make some modifications to make it mount on your actual robot. So that was the thing. I went to the image to 3D, and then I have the text to 3D. So this one, you could give it a text. So for example, I said futuristic robot arm link, the part of the arm only from shoulder to joint. I think specifically the text, the input prompt was a little bit confusing, but it was able to generate a futuristic arm for me, as you can see right here. So this might be good if you have no existing images you want to reference and just want to create a 3D model. This is a pretty good option for you. And here's some other examples too, if you want to create a dragon here. This dragon here is quite impressive. You can see the prompt here is pretty detailed, a hyper-realistic cinematic shot of a massive black dragon perched on a jagged mountain peak, scales like polished obsidians with glowing and so on. But anyway, you can see this dragon here is a very impressive model. So depending on your application, this is more for artistic applications, but if you're interested in more of the functional part, what I would recommend is using the Neural4D-20 and then focus on using prompts to refine your 3D model so that your final output is something you can actually work with. So here's the model of the STL output that I got from Neural4D. So you can see if you're trying to work with this, you could try different options like importing it. Normally, when you first import it, it could be a graphics body and you're going to have a very hard time dealing with it. If you choose a solid body, you might end up finding that it's a shelled body and there might be certain imperfections. So what I ended up doing was I used Claude to generate a 3D solid model using this as a reference. So if I show you the one that was working well, sorry, not this one. If you take a look at this one, this is the solid body that I was able to generate. So let me just go back a few steps to show you the original part. But you can see right here, this is a solid body. I also told it to smooth out the surface. So if I give you a section view, you can see this is completely solid. So now that you have a completely solid part, it becomes much easier to work with in an actual assembly because you actually have material to cut away or add holes and so on, depending on what you're trying to do. So this is really good because you have a lot more flexibility now in terms of putting it into your design. So first few steps I did was I created a plane here. So right now it's being a little bit laggy, but the idea is I created a plane so that I can generate a surface to actually cut on. So you can see, well, first off, I scaled it because you want to first figure out the actual size of your part when you import it. And then based on, like, for example, I have an actuator. If you want to find the right size based on the actuator, you could scale it to fit it. But here's the plane that I was talking about. So this plane, I pretty much drew by defining 3 points on the surface, and I was able to create a plane based off of the 3 constraints. And I would just went ahead and cut some material here. So I cut it because I needed a flat surface to actually, do some features on here as a nice reference plane. And then from there, I just added some counterbore holes so I could actually screw on to my motors later on. You can see here, this is the hole. And this is a very scaled down version because the bigger version was going to take something like 4 hours to print. And as a proof of concept, I just wanted to print a smaller scale version so you can see the actual output more quickly. But you can see right here in practice, if you wanted to work for a real size system, you could print it to the true scale. And if it's too big, you could break it up into pieces. But basically, once you have the solid here, you could essentially do anything you want to integrate it into your final assembly. So right here, the circular pattern is loading, but once it finishes loading, you could see the 4 holes that I've created. This is going to mount directly onto the motor face end, which you'll see once the print is done. I'll show you how everything is going to assemble. So you can see right here, this one is the part that I'm going to print. And this is a scaled down version. I have a bigger version here. You can see this is how big it is. If I were to print the actual size I want it, I'll just give you a feel for how long it takes. I think, yeah, it says it'll take 4 hours. But basically, I wasn't about to wait 4 hours to print this right now. If I had more time, I would. So I ended up doing the smaller version. One thing to note is I made the holes pointing up so that I don't need too much support material, but I allow support material to show up elsewhere. So if I do the preview, you can see this is going to be the supports that it generates. And then you can see this is the full layer by layer on how it will look like. So here's the final print. You could see the quality turned out pretty good. The surfaces was all very smooth. You could see this contour here. So I specifically asked it to smooth out, which it did. Some of this rough surface here, you see this is just because that was from the surface. There was also the support material. So when I printed it like this. So you could probably just sand this out to smooth it. But you can see these are my holes here for the screws. You can see if I put the screws, it falls right in. So the fit was pretty good. So now let's go ahead and mount this side to the motor. And here you can see our robot arm is running. This is using the My Actuator, and you can see it's going at a sine wave back and forth.